Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Crossing Ken Garage, where it may be hot outside, but it's kind of chilly in here because we are bringing you Christmas
in July.
In July, that's right, folks. We are bringing you our countdown today of our top favorite Christmas films. That's right. Not Christmas songs. Well, maybe not yet anyway. That might be later on in the year.
In December.
We're so glad that you joined us. I'm Randy.
And I'm Kristen. And we are very much looking forward to telling you our top 10 favorite Christmas movies on a Christmas in July.
Now, we want you to participate in this. We may have missed something that we are totally blown away by. Please comment below. Let us know how you would have chosen, or maybe how you would have ranked the films that we have placed in here. We want you also, as you come into the Crossing Ken Garage, to use this as a place of discovery. We may be mentioning films you've never heard of before, and there's a chance of that. So, we want you to explore. Go out and find these, because I'm sure they're either available streaming, or in about 5 months, they'll start showing up on Turner Classic Movies, the Hallmark Movie Channel, anywhere that Christmas movies are shown. But we're glad that you joined us. Welcome to Christmas in July.
All right, so as ever, we have about 5-ish honorable mentions, and I get to do those today. So our first honorable mention is The Man Who Invented Christmas. This movie starred Christopher Plummer and Dan Stevens, and it is the story of how Charles Dickens came up with the idea for the seminal classic, The Christmas Carol.
Fantastic film.
Wonderful film. Loved it. I think it was one of Christopher Plummer's last films.
Right.
The Home Alone series, specifically 1 and 2. We're going to pretend 3 through whatever else don't exist. The ones with Macaulay Culkin in them are the ones we're mentioning. As I said, starring Macaulay Culkin, the stories of when Kevin McAllister winds up alone on Christmas. Very sad. Very, very sad for Kevin. But all works out in the end. He gets to beat up Joe Pesci and his friend. I'm sorry. Nobody ever remembers the name of the other burglar. We're very, very sorry. Anyway, The Star. We've spoken about this film before on Crossing Ken in our top 10 faith-based films countdown. This is the nativity story from the animal's perspective. Speaking of the nativity story, that's the next film in our honorable mentions. It is as advertised. It is the nativity story. It's an excellent movie. Should always watch around Christmas. And last but definitely not least, Mickey's Christmas Carol, the Disney version of Charles Dickens' masterpiece with Scrooge McDuck as Scrooge.
We have an affinity for all the versions of the Dickens classic.
As you will see.
As you will see. I mean, there are some of our favorite films. There have been so many adaptations of A Christmas Carol taken. And we can recommend pretty much all of them. I've yet to see one that I really just
We've not seen the Jim Carrey one, but that might be one that we watch this Christmas season just to see what it's all about.
Sure. Now, one thing that we have to use as a qualifier, these are just films that are during the Christmas season, based on Christmas. They got snow, they got jingle bells, they've got
Santa Claus in some cases.
In some cases. This is not. Yes. We agree with you. Die
Hard,
Lethal Weapon. They're Christmas movies.
Even the new Jumanji movies technically qualify as Christmas movies because they are both set during Christmas time. You can see Christmas decorations up in the first one, and they are mentioned to be on Christmas break.
So we want to acknowledge the fact that, yes, they are Christmas films in our opinion. However, they are not on our countdown. Our countdown today is stereotypical,
traditional
Christmas films. Things that you wouldn't necessarily watch in July. So, I'm going to start us off with number 10. Number 10 is Christmas in Connecticut. It is a film starring Barbara Stanwyck. Now, some of you guys may remember her from The Big Valley. She was the mom in The Big Valley. Folks my age are really, really, really going to recognize her from that. However, she had an illustrious film career prior to coming to the small screen. And in this film, she plays it's a 30s, 40s time period. So, I mean, a lot of the things that we're going to talk about are stereotypical for that time period. She is a author of a homemaking article for a major publication of the time. This film has an all-star cast for its day. It has a cast of characters that if you watch a lot of American movie classics or Turner Classic movies that from the 30s and 40s, you're going to recognize these characters. It is absolutely hilarious, the shenanigans that she gets herself into, because she makes herself out to be a married with a child person, and she's a single lady. Single ladies, let's hear it from you. Okay? Anyway, this is a hilarious movie. Barbara Stanwyck does a beautiful job. It is a film that we watch every year. It's one of Tammy's absolute favorites, and we hee-haw at this film every year. It is just so funny. Poignant, precious, and it's just a great film all the way throughout. Christmas in Connecticut.
All right, coming in at number 9, we have White Christmas. You can see the lovely record back here behind us. The most popular record of all time, according to Dad's research.
Most sold single.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
But we are not discussing the record. We are discussing the film. It also stars Danny. Oh, I forgot his name. If you've seen the film Hans Christian Andersen, then you know who the other fella is. This movie is adorable. It is one of my favorites to watch around this time of years. I believe it was probably filmed in black and white and then color added later because a lot of the color kind of is weird.
Or they originally filmed in color.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of the it was one of the very first films to come out in color, and they still hadn't quite got all of the nooks and crannies worked out just yet.
A lot of the blue, anytime there's a lot of blue around, the color gets weird, but otherwise it's technically beautiful. All the dancing is astounding. There is so much dancing in this movie. It's incredible. The cast is beautiful. Rosemary Clooney is the female lead in this movie. For the life of me, I cannot remember the other 2 supporting players, and they're my favorite characters in this, so I hate that. But yeah, this movie tells the tale of a couple of, for lack of a better term, vaudeville type. Mm-hmm. They host a late night type show where they sing and dance, but it's kind of a vaudeville type thing. On their way out for the Christmas break, they go see this sister act. If you know the song Sisters, Sisters, this is the movie that song comes from.
They were original Army buddies, and they developed their vaudeville show based on
one of them saving the other's life and then guilting him.
Exactly. And Bing Crosby, to his credit, Bing Crosby joined Bob Hope on many of the USO tours during both World Wars, and even up into Vietnam. So this kind of an act wasn't foreign to Bing Crosby at all. Danny Kaye.
Danny Kaye. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you. Danny Kaye is the other. Phil and Bob. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got the names. We got there. Anyway, Phil and Bob, they see the sister act. The sisters are in trouble, so they help them out. They all wind up on this train, and they all wind up going to Vermont, despite plans to the contrary. And they wind up at this little Vermont inn. Things are bad, so they decide, hey, and their old general from the Army is the one who's running the inn. The inn's underwater. So they're like, hey, let's use our fame to bring money into the inn. And it's heartfelt, it's beautiful. All the music is beautiful.
All the music's by Irving Berlin.
There's not much story to it. I mean, it's honestly just an excuse to weave these beautiful set pieces of theatrical, stage, singing, dancing numbers in. But you know what? That's what some of the best Broadway shows are.
It is very Broadway-like. It is also one of those films that is classic, and it will be watched in the Crossing Ken home every year. Every year. We have a night typically in December where we watch 2 movies that are on this list, and one of them is White Christmas, and we typically watch them back to back. But
Moving right along, Daddy, what is our number 8?
Number 8 came out about the same time my generation was born. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
The claymation version.
Rankin Bass version that is, for its time, it was cutting-edge technology and cutting-edge animation. It seems dated today. However, it is not. It is one of the most dated films you'll probably ever watch. However, it gets played every year.
I would like to say this, without Rudolph, we probably wouldn't have Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's a very good point as well. So you've got Rudolph and a whole cast of other films at that time that were claymation by Rankin Bass. They were household names in the late 60s, early 70s for producing seasonal, mostly Christmas, but seasonal, incredible films. Rudolph is a classic tale from the Gene Autry song, and then they just take it from there.
You're partial to the Mountain Man.
I love Yukon Cornelius. I absolutely love. Quit licking the axe, brother. So, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is our number 8 on our Christmas in July countdown.
All right, number 7. Bing is still with us, and this time he's joined by Mr. Fred Astaire. We have Holiday Inn.
Now, let me qualify this for just a second. This is one of those films that could have fallen in the Die Hard, Lethal Weapon.
Because it's not strictly set at Christmas time. It covers pretty much every holiday in a calendar year.
But it was before White Christmas. It was also filled with Irving Berlin songs. And it is predominantly a Christmas theme most of the way through.
All of the dramatic moments take place at or around Christmas time, so we felt it qualified just enough to squeak in. Also, this is the other half of our Bing-a-thon, as I like to call it.
It to me is the better film.
Well, yes, Bing thought so as well.
Over White Christmas. It is to me a more coherent story. And it doesn't get into as many of the flash and bang kind of dance scenes that, although Fred Astaire is a significantly, in my opinion, better dancer than Danny Kaye,
he also does styles. A firework dance.
Right, different, total different styles. Certainly, yes, go watch Holiday Inn. Go watch White Christmas. Holiday Inn to us is a better film. That's why it's higher ranked.
This is the movie where in White Christmas the song was first played in a movie.
Originally,
yes. Also, one last thing I want to say. This movie inspired an actual Broadway show, and to my knowledge, the more recent Broadway run of this starred Corbin Bleu.
That's awesome.
I don't remember if he was in the Fred or in the Bing role. I think he was in the Bing role, which I love Corbin Bleu, so that just makes me immensely happy.
But Holiday Inn,
number 7.
Number 7. From Holiday Inn, we jump into a completely diametrically opposed type film.
Yes, sir.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Yes, this is the iconic cartoon from the 60s. This is the Boris Karloff narrated
and voiced.
And voiced.
The Grinch.
Right. And so, if you don't know who Boris Karloff is, again, you need to explore Turner Classic Movies just a little bit more, especially around Halloween.
Wasn't he in a bunch of monster movies?
He was the monster movie.
Him and Bela Lugosi.
And Lon Chaney Jr. And Lon Chaney Jr. They were the prime monster guys back in the day. And if another reason why we have A Nightmare on Christmas is because of those actors, Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney Jr., and
Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi, thank you. So, this is a movie about someone who doesn't like Christmas. And it has become a term for those people who are bent towards not liking the Christmas season currently.
Grinch!
You are called a Grinch if you are not liking Christmas. And this film from the late 60s, I think 1967, if I'm correct.
You're close.
Very, very close. I was a child, anyway. A long, long time ago. So, Grinch, love the film. Favorite characters? Cindy Lou Who, thank you. My favorite character is the little girl at the end who brings the point all about and melts the Grinch's heart. So, a great story of redemption, a great story of evil turning to good, all wrapped up in Dr. Seuss
And his beautiful rhymes.
and his beautiful rhymes.
His nonsense words, but his lovely, lovely rhymes.
Thurles Ravenscroft sings the original song, and if you don't know who that guy is, he's great! He's also the voice of Tony the Tiger back in the original days. So, there's so many things to unpack in this that we could spend an entire Grinchy episode, and perhaps we will as we get closer, because there's been very many iterations of this film as well. Some good, some Jim Carrey. Anyway, so
Be nice to Jim Carrey.
have come in at number 6 with How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
All right, number 5. We've already alluded to this film just a skosh, but we are looking at Scrooge, starring Albert Finney.
Yes.
It is the musical version of Charles Dickens' classic Christmas Carol. My goodness, guys, this movie was, I didn't see it for the first time until last year. And there was, honestly, the DVD copy of it that we have, Dad had never seen a scene. The Ghost of Christmas Future, on the DVD version, it gets edited out of pretty much every single TV airing. But the DVD version has The Ghost of Christmas Future taking Scrooge to literal hell. Actual hell wrapped in chains. It's terrifying.
Yeah, I'd never seen that episode. They edited
that
it from
scene,
that scene. They edited it from every television airing that I had ever seen.
Because it was deemed too intense for kids.
Let's understand a couple of things here. Number one, the music is outstanding.
Perfect. If you are a purveyor of Silver Dollar City, you will likely know many of the tracks from this flick, as they use at least 2, if not more, songs from this film in their version of A Christmas Carol, which we highly recommend. If you are in the Missouri, Arkansas, around about Branson area, go to Silver Dollar City around Christmas time and see their version of A Christmas Carol. It is...
One other thing, Alec Guinness is in this film. Obi-Wan Kenobi
Is
Marley in this film, and he's terrifying.
terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying.
The ghosts are freaky. Like, this is not Goofy and Jiminy Cricket and Willie the Giant and Pete. These are people in full-on wigs and makeup and as scary as they can possibly make it.
The music provides an incredible balance for the scariness of this film. I would highly recommend children under the age of 8 or 9, you really don't want them to see this film, just because it's scary. The music is absolutely fantastic. Alec Guinness does a great job as Marley. My personal favorite is the Ghost of Christmas Present. Yes, Ghost of Christmas Present.
When we go to Fezziwigs?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
December the 25th.
Okay, Kristen could sing you the whole soundtrack,
I
but we don't have time for that.
Sorry. Also
Go and
copyright.
see the movie Scrooge
It's fantastic.
from 1972,
If you
I
are-
believe.
Albert Finney is probably the weakest singer in the cast, but he only has a couple of songs. Everybody else is fabulous.
So,
Number 4.
number 4. Now, we're getting close to the top, so I think your pool over your window of Christmas favorites is probably shrinking just like ours did. But at number 4 is the original, not the 1970, 82.
90s, because
Okay,
it
90s
was the little
remake.
girl from Matilda.
Okay, good call. Miracle on 34th Street with Edmund Wynn and Natalie Wood as a very young Natalie Wood as the child character in this film. You can't get past. I mean, go and watch this if for nothing else to see the difference between Macy's
Thanksgiving
Parade
Day Parade
and
now.
Macy's Parade Now.
I like
Fantastic
what
film.
Get onto it.
Go back and watch the original Miracle on 34th Street. If you haven't seen it already, wait till probably
Thanksgiving.
after Thanksgiving. You know, perhaps the day after Thanksgiving.
They start
if you-
on Thanksgiving. They
Yeah.
start at the parade.
That's reasonable. So, Miracle on 34th Street.
All right. Number 3. Oh my goodness. This is my favorite of the Rankin Bass specials. It is Santa Claus is Coming to Death.
You can't
Coming to
go wrong
Town.
with Fred Astaire.
No. Fred Astaire is the mailman. But the rest of the voice cast is impressive. Most prominently would be Mickey Rooney as Chris/Santa Claus. We talked about him briefly in my Disney ranking, which hopefully is floating above my head here. He is one of those actors, his voice, no matter how old he got, his voice did not change.
Well, this was the late 60s, early 70s as well. So you have to remember, Fred Astaire and Mickey Rooney, while having been in Hollywood for quite some time,
by that point,
they were still 50s, 60s perhaps. They weren't in their 80s like you later see them in like Night of the Museum and later on with that one film that Fred Astaire did, Scary Movie. Crazy, freaky movie.
You say so. But yeah, this movie, it's basically telling how Santa became Santa and how he got all of his elves and the North Pole, and the music is precious. It kind of makes me sad they edit some of the songs out in the TV versions now, which makes me kind of sad. But like, I sing some of these songs year round. Like the One Foot in Front of the Other song that they sing with North, and the Bad Guys song, Burgermeister Burger. He's one of my favorite animated villains. I love it.
It's a great film. I agree with Kristen. I think it is the tops of the Rankin Bass, just because it gives, let's face it, plausibility to Santa being who he is. A little bit more perhaps than what Tim Allen's version of it did. So we like that film a lot.
All right.
That was number 3.
Top 2.
Now, number 2 may come as a surprise to you that it is number 2. I confess, I did not see this film until I was in college, and it really, late 80s, they colorized it for a time and really kind of took some of the nostalgia. The colorized version just didn't quite make it. So everybody goes back to the black and white and watches it every year. It's a story by Frank Capra, starring Jimmy Stewart, called It's a Wonderful Life. You've more than likely seen this film. If you haven't by now, please take an opportunity to watch it. It is probably one of the most balanced, dramatic films, and I mean balanced by its comedic aspects being just enough to make the film tender, and the story is incredible. It's absolutely precious, and it's where we get the iconic "every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings" line. So it is, again, Frank Capra, Jimmy Stewart partnered together for very many films.
Donna
in that
Reed
time.
also plays Mary.
Donna Reed plays Jimmy Stewart's wife later on, and there are other folks in this cast that if you watch very many of Frank Capra, Jimmy Stewart's films, either of their films, you see these characters. They really, really like working with the same folks a lot. It's a Wonderful Life comes in at number 2 for us. We highly encourage, go see this film. There's really not a whole lot more that we can talk about that hasn't already been said and dissected about It's a Wonderful Life.
Little side note, I cannot remember the title, but It's a Wonderful Life is actually based on a book. If I can find the video, I'm going to link in the description a video called What's the Difference, where a couple of YouTubers took a look at It's a Wonderful Life and compared it to its source material.
And believe it or not, I don't know why they did it, and I haven't seen the film, so please, if you have, let us know. There was a sequel made to It's a Wonderful Life in the 90s called Clarence.
Oh.
Check that out if you get the chance and let us know.
All right, we've reached it. Number 1.
The numero uno.
And if you've seen our little prop here, you can probably guess. Number 1 is a Charlie Brown Christmas.
We love everything Charlie Brown.
Everything.
Everything Charlie Brown. We have a Charlie Brown set of encyclopedias, children's encyclopedias.
My sister Katie has more Snoopy things like this than I care to mention. We love them. We have Snoopy ornaments galore on our tree every year. We love Charlie Brown, and this special is the pinnacle. It's the pinnacle. And it was paid lovely homage to multiple times in the more recent Peanuts movie.
Absolutely.
Which, if you've not seen the Peanuts movie, go see the Peanuts movie.
Blue Sky Productions did a great job. They are the folks who brought us Ice Age, and they did an incredible job of paying homage, like Kristen said, to Charles Schulz and the storylines that permeate all the way through the Peanuts archives, paying a special respect to the Christmas film. And it is one that was wrapped in some controversy when it originally came out.
Because of Linus's speech.
Because of Linus's speech from Luke chapter 2. Make sure, go ahead. Google that. See some of the, it almost did not make it on the air. But Charles Schulz forced the issue. He would not edit out the Linus retelling of the Christmas story from his film. He gave him an ultimatum: either air it as is or don't air it. And it today continues to be aired every Christmas time in its complete.
That is, if Apple Plus is kind enough to let networks have the rights.
That's
Apple
true.
Plus, please take a lesson from A Charlie Brown Christmas and don't be selfish. Let the Christmas spirit be for everybody. That's what Christmas is all about, Charlie Brown.
Or go to your local Walmart, buy it on DVD, and circumvent Apple Plus. They're always we're a DVD family.
Yes.
In case you haven't learned, Scrooge will always be edited on any broadcast at television. Charlie Brown Christmas has received some edits in the past. We've mentioned Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It got edited quite a bit
because it's a long movie.
And go get the DVDs of these films.
Because they'll work when your Wi-Fi doesn't.
They'll work when your Wi-Fi doesn't. And if we live close to Oregon, we would come to you, oh, single blockbuster. So,
Charlie Brown Christmas is precious. All the characters are precious. The animation is really good, especially for the time. There's very little, film dust, for lack of a better term, on most of the versions we see. It's all very crisp and good. The music is as ever perfect because it's Charlie Brown and whoever.
Vince Guaraldi.
Thank you, Vince
You're
Guaraldi.
welcome.
Can do no wrong when he's doing a Charlie Brown score.
And the Charlie Brown Christmas, quite honestly, introduced an entire generation to jazz like we've never heard it. And some of you jazz aficionados may say that Vince Guaraldi is not. Well, he is at least a gateway into jazz, and the music is absolutely wonderful in most Charlie Brown things, but especially in A Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yes.
The music, the story, the animation, our
characters.
beloved characters, that is why all of that makes A Charlie Brown Christmas our number one for our Christmas in July countdown from the Crossing King Garage.
And that's all we've got, folks. Thank y'all for coming with us for this Christmas in July. We hope that perhaps all the talk of snow and Christmas magic has cooled you off just a little bit this very, very, very warm July day. I have no doubt, because we live in Arkansas. We live in the hottest place on the planet, it feels like. So, the humidity will kill you. Anyway, thank y'all so much for being here with us at the garage. And until we see you again, I'm Kristen.
I'm Randy.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
And we'll see you next time.